Hello YouTube and welcome to this video about an Elder Scrolls character and a form of magic not many people know about. I'm talking about Azra Nightwielder and the shadow magic art. Now, before I start this video, sorry for barely touching on the story of the Elder Scrolls Travel Shadowkey. I received a lot of information from that game because that's where Azra appeared. However, I want to do that story in another separate video someday, since I want, well, when I have time, I want to do some videos on the story of the lesser known Elder Scrolls games, like the travel games and maybe even Battlespire. So, sorry about that, but let's just kick off with the video. Not many people know of Azra Nightwielder. Most people that know about him have just heard his name from Master Neleth during the miscellaneous quest Azra's Staffs on Solstheim. However, while most people just brush the backstory Neleth tells you about him off as, well, Bethesda creating some flimsy name for a character they won't ignore forever, there is actually some backstory behind Azra Nightwielder. He is even encountered in one of the canon Elder Scrolls games, namely the Elder Scrolls Travel Shadowkey. But let's start at the beginning. Usually when we think of great powerful mages, we think about figures like Mannimarco and the Cameron Usurper. I even had a comment on my Cameron Usurper video about how some people wish there were more legendary figures in Magic than just the bad guys and some very vague good guys. Well, my friend, welcome to this video. I say this because Azra Nightwielder was one of the greatest mages of the Third Era, maybe even one of the greatest mages of all time, in my opinion. He was, as Neleth explains to you when you ask him, the original Shadow Mage. His advances in magic are legendary. This title of original Shadow Mage means that he was the first one to ever use shadow magic, a powerful art of magic rivaling the power of even the Elder Scrolls themselves, since they can change the past, present and future if done right. Using shadow magic, one can strengthen himself by absorbing shadows, but one can also use the shadow magic to make the shadows physical and mold them into shapes, like weapons. Another property of shadow magic was that very powerful life force drain spells could be developed with it, much more powerful than, for example, your regular vampire drain. And the final and probably most interesting property of shadow magic is the creation of shadow gates, which can be opened using shadow keys. These shadow gates are a means of protecting things like treasure and other information, because in the Elder Scrolls Shadowkey, well, the shadow keys themselves play a very minor role in the game, but in the Elder Scrolls Shadowkey you actually find some of the Star Tooth, which are really pivotal items, inside the shadow gates. There is, however, one instance of the use of shadow magic before Azra Nightwielder, because in the Second Era, during the time of ESO, there were Night Blades in the Second Era, where some of them merged with the shadows. However, they were not actually aware that they actually used a completely new branch of magic. Therefore, Azra is still credited to be the one who has discovered shadow magic, but he's not, well, he's the first one who knowingly used it. Azra Nightwielder was the first one to realize that shadows were not just a mere absence of light, but a reflection of possible worlds created by forces in conflict. For example, a light strikes a rock, and the shadow is the record of their clash, the past, present and future. He figured that this could be turned into a form of magic by manipulating the shadows, and thus manipulating the thing causing the shadows, in all existing worlds. Azra attempted what had never been done before, manipulating his own shadow, to such an extent that he actually instantized and melted all possible Azras at the same time, crossing over from this singular existence in shadow. If that sounds pretty vague, it pretty much means that he just melted his own shadow and thereby all the shadows in all the other worlds from him. After doing this, people, for particular some Redguard soldiers in the area, well, they were becoming pretty scared. They were fearing the power of Azra should he succeed with his experiments in even developing shadow magic even further. And they confronted and tried to kill Azra. That battle did not go well for the wizard or the Redguard soldier, since both actually disappeared. The Redguard soldiers died and Azra disappeared, because Azra lost control over his shadows, and a large hole was blasted into the ground at the place where the battle occurred, when he lost control of his magic, and it can still be seen at a village that bears his name, Azra's Crossing, to remember that battle. The fear, however, that he would misuse the shadow magic was unnecessary, as Azra did not want to use the shadow magic for evil. He was even a great enemy of those wanting to use it for evil, always wanting to use it for good. It later turns out that Azra is actually still alive after the battle, and he is found by the hero of the Elder Scrolls Shadowkey in a large ice crystal in an ice cave. There he is released by the hero. However, he has no idea who he is, since he has lost his memory. But fortunately, he has not lost his power. With his power, he connects his shadow with the shadow of the hero, so that they can stay in contact. And when the hero battles Pergan Azul, a major antagonist and powerful shadow mage in the game, he says, "Even mingling with the shadow of Azra Nightwielder will not help you now, hero." This hearing of his name, through their connection, makes Azra receive his memory back, and actually enables him to help the hero further on his quest against Pergan Azul, who has fled the last battle. After the end of the quest of the Elder Scrolls Shadowkey, the hero is teleported to Azra with the teleporter that Azra had made. Azra then congratulates the hero with his final victory, and he thanks him for all that he has done. He then says to the hero that he has to go and continue his own journey of the exploration of magic, as he says, "The shadows call me." After this, he's probably just continued researching shadow magic and other forms of magic, since we hear from Neloth in Skyrim that Azra Nightwielder was actually also one of the pioneers in the field of progressing the use and creation of enchanted staffs. His methods are all but obsolete in the 4th era, due to the great progress that has been made since Azra's death. However, the staffs made by Azra himself are still very prized because of the legendary genius of Azra himself, and, well, they have received a sort of collector status, and they have much sentimental value to staff collectors like Neloth. After Azra's death, we do not know what happened to the art of shadow magic. We know that it was primarily used in the region around High Rock, Hammerfell, Skyrim border, but we do not know if the arts actually remained there, were outlawed, or maybe even forgotten in the passing ages, since, well, it's a long time ago since Azra Nightwielder lived. Anyway, we have never seen shadow magic again in the Elder Scrolls universe, except for in ESO, where they're like the Nightblades. So, that was it, the full story of Azra Nightwielder. I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, sorry for not really touching on the whole subject of the Elder Scrolls Shadowkey story. I really want to keep that for an upcoming video, since I've really planned to do like the Elder Scrolls Shadowkey, Dawnstar, Stormhold, and then probably Battlespire, so that I've covered all the main Elder Scrolls stories. Except for Arena and Daggerfall, but those I will do also in a separate video. Really, I have too much on my plate right now. There's like a very long list full of requests. And so, yeah, I'm sorry, but everything will come. I'm only human. Please let me do my work. Anyway, if you liked the video, like, subscribe. If you like more, if you want to see more videos, of course, check out the channel. If you want to support me in a more personal way, there's my Patreon. Patreon subscribers will get some old scripts that are currently on the Patreon. I might even post new scripts. I don't really know what direction to take with the Patreon, and well, if you are donating there, all you will get are some old things, and well, just the fact that you're supporting me. You can also get a rank on my Discord with it, and you will get yeah, your name at the end of every video. So, and then if you want personal contact with me, again, there's my Discord in the description, and there's also in the description, of course, my Patreon and my Instagram, where I post memes sometimes and artworks from Skyrim, because I have taken up a liking of making Skyrim screenshots. Anyway, that was it for today. I hope you all liked the video, and I will see you in the next lore video, probably in a few days.